Gojo versus Sukuna, the never-ending debate, and I don't see it ending soon, but it got even more heated since last week. Actually, there is a new information revealed in which JJ stated that if Gojo didn't let his guard down against Sukuna, then he would be able to dodge that final attack that killed him. And after Gojo fans find out that new information, they got wild on social media. It's like they actually won the war or something. They are going wild on Twitter and are out of control. They are disrespecting some people who are trying to convey that the information doesn't change anything at all. But you know what? They are brain dead fucking idiots who doesn't want to understand at all. They only care about Gojo and Gojo alone. They don't give a damn about the story. They only read the part of the story where Gojo was the main character in their eyes. I read that fucking tweet and I was like, does it change anything? For example, even if Gojo was able to dodge that attack, then what? Gojo was already on his last leg, idiot. First of all, this was the attack. Look at this. How the fuck Gojo's gonna dodge that? And listen, Miss Gojo fangirls, I know that you are not that smart and your reading comprehension is very bad. So let me tell you in details why Gojo can't defeat Sukuna. First of all, narrative of the story. The entire story begins when Itadori ate the finger of Sukuna, the king of the curses. Sukuna take over Itadori's body, but Itadori take control of back. Gojo find out about Itadori, how he suppressed Sukuna. Itadori was about to get executed because he ate Sukuna's finger, but Gojo protected him and make a deal with him. And he told him everything about Sukuna, how because of Sukuna pupils are dying. So Itadori decided to take the burden to end Sukuna once and for all. This entire narrative shows that Itadori's whole purpose, his entire goal is now to end Sukuna once and for all. And it also tells us that the plot of entire story will going to be around Sukuna because he is the final villain of the story and it is Itadori's duty to kill Sukuna. Now second reason, Gojo was weaker than Sukuna. I know some people don't wanna like that, but listen to me first. Why I said Gojo was weaker than Sukuna? First, Gojo himself acknowledged in chapter 237 that Sukuna was stronger than him, even without 10 shadows. But some Gojo fans just straight up denied that. They really erased that chapter from their memories like it was never existed. They only remember one thing, that in episode 1st, Gojo said that he can defeat Sukuna in a 1v1. That's all they care about. But they forget that in the same episode, Sukuna also said that when he take over Itadori's body, Gojo is the first person he will going to be killed. So Sukuna was also confident that he will win just like Gojo. And so both characters are confident in their abilities, and when their fight begins, they both proved why they were confident. And listen, I don't think Gojo was weak at all, and he proves that. Then why he lost? If you have read the story and you know how to understand it, then you already realized that from the start of the fight, Gojo was gonna lose. JJ, the author of the story, gave one of the biggest hints that Gojo was gonna lose, and that was side characters. What do I mean by side characters? Listen, when Gojo versus Sukuna fight begin, the other important characters were waiting, and those characters were powerhouses. For example, Yuta, Kashimo, Hakari, Maki, and even the main character himself, Itadori. What do you think they were doing? They were just waiting. If Gojo's lost, then they will going to jump on Sukuna and not going to give him the rest to recover. So from the start of the fight, JJ's intentions were very clear, that those guys will going to fight Sukuna after Gojo. It simply means that Gojo will gonna lose that fight, and he did. If you have little bit reading comprehension, then you should have already realized that Gojo will going to lose. Now some fangirls will gonna say that Sukuna won because of Mahoraga, or you can say 10 Shadow. Sukuna cheated in that fight and blah blah blah, and I'm telling you that anyone who think that is a fucking moron. Let's address that cheating thing, that Sukuna uses Mahoraga. Listen, do you know who was the one cheated first? It was your fucking daddy, Gojo. Yes, with the help of Utahime and the fucking dude who uses barrier technique. And Utahime boosted Gojo's holo purple to 200%, and black coat dude hide his presence, so Sukuna won't be able to avoid that attack. And that's what happens. Sukuna wasn't able to dodge that attack because he didn't sense it, and he tanked that attack. So what you understand by that? It simply means that the author already told us that this fight will not going to be fair. And don't forget, Gojo can also get the help if he wants to, but he decided not to. And Gojo already knows that Sukuna will going to use Mahoraga in that fight. So Sukuna using Mahoraga doesn't count as a cheating because Gojo have the same option. But I know some fangirls will still not going to understand that. They will always going to say that it's 2v1 or 3v1. So let me tell you another fact that you forget to read in that fight. When Sukuna uses Mahoraga and Agito in a fight, you know what was the side effect? If you have read the story, then you should have already know that. The side effect was Sukuna can't use his own curse technique entire time. That means Sukuna just traded his technique with the 10 shadows. That means the fight always was was Sukuna versus Gojo, and Sukuna was using Ten Shadow instead of his cleave and dismantle. And when Sukuna was using Mahoraga, it was Sukuna who got handicapped because now he need to protect Mahoraga from Gojo. So why Sukuna even using Mahoraga in the first place? The entire purpose of using Mahoraga was to find a way to bypass Gojo's infinity. Gojo have one of the most powerful hacks in the series, and it was infinity, and Sukuna doesn't know how to bypass it. So he uses Mahoraga, who have the ability to adapt, and Mahoraga figured it out how to bypass infinity. He used an attack that can cut space and time to bypass infinity, and Sukuna saw that attack and created world cutting slash through binding bow. His world cutting slash was created on the model of Mahoraga's attack that bypass infinity. So now you understand the entire purpose of Mahoraga, to figure it out how to bypass infinity, and that's all. And this was also the reason Sukuna took Megumi as a vessel, so he can get his hands on Mahoraga. And don't forget that Sukuna was stronger than Gojo in every way, even in terms of domain. Sukuna's domain was so powerful that he destroyed Gojo's domain twice. And if you think that was not enough, then don't forget that Sukuna didn't even use his flames. When Sukuna defeated Gojo, do you know who he faced after that? Fucking Kashimo, who was also the strongest sorcerer just like Gojo, but 400 years ago. Kashimo was also defeated by Sukuna, and Sukuna used the same attack that killed Gojo on Kashimo, and he barely dodged it. And Kashimo was the lightning user and also called the thunder god. So if he wasn't able to dodge the world cutting slash, then Gojo in his last leg won't be able to dodge it either. So after facing Kashimo, he faced Yuta, Itadori, Maki, and some bunch of strong A-grade sorcerers. So even after defeating Gojo, Sukuna didn't get any rest and fight other top tier characters. So saying that Gojo would have dodged that attack if he didn't let his guard down is idiotic. Now let's assume that even if he dodged that attack, then what? He would have been killed by another attack, because now Sukuna knows how to bypass infinity. So it will not gonna change anything at all. And let's assume that if Gojo and Sukuna fight again, Gojo with his full power with Mahoraga, while Prime Sukuna alone in his original body with the ability to bypass infinity. So what do you think is going to happen? Nothing. I'm telling you, nothing is going to happen. Sukuna will win way more easily than the fight we got, because now Sukuna doesn't have to worry about infinity, because he have that attack that can bypass infinity. And not just that, he also have his original body. That means this time he will kill Gojo in his domain, because in the fight we get, Sukuna was limited to use domain because Megumi's body can't handle the pressure to the brain. But that problem will be solved when Sukuna will going to use his true body. And don't forget, his body is the strongest body in the entire world. So my point is that Gojo is weaker than Sukuna in every category except Hex, and that Hex is not a problem anymore. And one of the biggest reasons that makes Sukuna stronger than Gojo was his knowledge. Sukuna's knowledge about cursed energy is the reason why he is so strong. His knowledge is so great that he created an attack that can cut space and time on the spot, and the reason behind that knowledge was his past. As we find out that Sukuna wasn't like Gojo, who was born as the strongest. Sukuna was the one who became the strongest by working hard by fighting other sorcerers, and that's make him different from Gojo. Gojo was the strongest among weak, while Sukuna was the strongest among the strongest. And there is another bullshit excuse that Gojo fangirls gave, and that is JJ Akutami, the author of the Jujutsu Kaisen, hated Gojo. For God's sake, this is one of the most bullshit reason you can give. Let me ask Gojo fans a question. Why we like Gojo? It's because of his representation in the story. If JJ really hate Gojo, then he will treat Gojo like Jogo, who get fucked up by every character. If JJ really hated Gojo, then he will not give one of the best fight in the manga history to Gojo. He will change Gojo and place different characters like Yuta or Kashimo if he hated Gojo. Sukuna will one-shot Gojo in that fight if JJ really hated Gojo. So stop blaming the author for your lack of reading comprehension. And last and the biggest reason why Gojo lost, because he is not the fucking main character. The biggest problem with Gojo fans is that they really thought that Gojo was the main character. He was not. It was his destiny to die for the greater good. He did his job in that fight, that he weakened Sukuna to the point that Itadori and other characters have a chance against him. So Gojo fans, stop complaining and first learn how to read the story. And you know who get the worst treatment in the story and nobody complained about it was Itadori, the main character in the entire story. He feels like the biggest clown in the story. So I really hated the treatment he get. He deserved better. So again, Gojo versus Sukuna, Sukuna wins because he is the stronger one between them. We should understand that if you still wants to live in your own fantasy world where Gojo won, then be it. But the reality is Sukuna split Gojo in half in the story. So that's all I have to say. If you like the explanation, then hit that like button and subscribe the channel for more JJK content.